Hi everybody, Sandra here from Createinspain. Thanks for joining me today. And I'm going to be doing some paper flowers today. Now, I've cut these out 3 different sizes to make one flower. This is embroidery backing, so it's great stuff. It'll take all the water that you need to throw at it. You're not going to tear it, destroy it, and it will take quite a lot of rough treatment. So it's very useful for making paper flowers. It has a really nice delicate look to it when they're done. Now, I've already done a couple with an airbrush, or at least painted the petals with an airbrush, but I'm going to see if this will work using this and these acrylic Lumiere colours from Jacquard. Now, these are great sparkle colours, so I'm interested to see whether this brush is going to apply it well. It's so hot in here, I can't sit in here without the fan today. It's just not going to happen. Which is why I'm not airbrushing the rest of them, because I was so hot, I just couldn't cope. So I'm going to put a little paint on here. It's quite a soft bodied paint. You can put it through an airbrush if you dilute it slightly. So I'm not going to dilute it at the moment. I'm just going to rub it into my brush. And I'm working on a silicone mat because I wasn't sure exactly how much mess I was going to make. And I figure if I use silicone mat, it'll just wash off without difficulty. Because of course acrylic paint sticks to things, it's supposed to, which is a bit of a pain when you don't want it to. That's actually looking pretty good. I'm pleasantly surprised at how well that is coping. And don't worry about it getting creased, I'm going to screw it all up at the end of the day anyway. So yeah, that's actually not doing too badly. I could possibly add a drop of water. This is just straightforward water in here. Add a couple of drops of water and dilute it just a bit. I think that's probably the way to go, so a little dilution might be a good idea. I want a little more variation on the edges, so I've taken to using this Tim Holtz blender with my Memento inks to do some colouring on the edges. If I use the brush, it's a little bit too subtle. I want something a little bit stronger, and this applies a little more ink. I also have some here that were airbrushed. So this was airbrushed with just normal food colouring, and you can see it's now textured because what I did with this one is I put a wire through and I just crinkled it up, and that gives you a much more lively looking, a much more realistic looking type of flower. And then these pieces were airbrushed with the sparkly paints. It's certainly a very easy way of doing it. This one was done with the flower actually all in its layers together, and I just taken the wire out. So they go from being flat to being rather gorgeous. There we go, just a different way of applying the paint. Now, I have my glue gun here, which is, yeah, there you go, you can just see it. It's been heating up. Now, normally when I do these, I use a little amount of a foam clay to make the centres. I haven't got any at the moment. At the moment, the only thing I have really suitable for the centres are these. Or you can actually make a centre with the hot glue gun, make a good mound of glue in the centre. Now, to mount them, if you actually want them on stalks, I have got here some teal coloured wire, which is great. If you don't want to put them on stalks, you can put them on headbands, you can put them onto hair clips, all sorts of things, depending on what you want to use them for. As it happens, I have a friend who had one of my paper flowers a couple of years ago, and she's lost it and she wanted it replaced, so she wanted it on a stalk, so on a stalk it will be. So I'm just going to actually physically screw these up. Yeah, I know. It seems a bit ridiculous, doesn't it? But it actually does make it look so much better when the flowers aren't completely and utterly flat. They have a bit of life to them. Starting off with the smaller one. If you're going to set it on wire, one of the easiest ways of doing it is to actually thread it on the wire. I need 2 holes in order to do that. So what I would do is just get a sharp tool. This is one of a set of toothpicks. There's, well, not toothpicks, dental tools, that's it. And no, I'm not a dentist, not related to one, but you can buy them online. They're just very, very handy craft tools. They have all sorts of curved and sharp points to them, and yeah, I just find them really handy. Getting things off of mats and doing all sorts of things. You can also use flower making tools to crease these up. Fondant tools, that sort of thing, if you want to. There we go. So that is in there, and what I need to do is to twist it so that is actually holding it. And it makes sense to put a dab of glue onto this just to make sure it doesn't go anywhere. You can twist the 2 wires together if you want to make a thicker stem, just like that. And now you've got a really good support for it. So if you want to stick it into foam, if you want to make a display and use the florist foam, that sort of stuff, you can. But the base of it is nicely attached, and we can actually concentrate on the flower. However, have you spotted my somewhat deliberate mistake? No, it actually wasn't deliberate, idiot that I am. I've put it on the smallest bit and not the biggest one. Which wouldn't have been a problem so much if I hadn't actually stuck that there. Okay, let's start again. So this is a full size one. Let's do the other hole that I need. I've got a hole there, and I'm going to put one just there. So these 2, I just need to put a little bit of glue in the centre. Don't need very much, and put it so that it is offset against the one underneath. Dab of glue, that can go in the centre. So I'm going to twist the 2 wires together. There we go. And what I'm going to do is just trim both the wires off so they're the same length. I'll do that over my phone. And for safety's sake, I'll just move this out the way, move this back into position. For safety's sake, I'm going to put a blob of glue over the end of that and just work it up the stalk very slightly. So now all I need to do is put some glue in the centre of there and put my other layers on top. So, good blob of glue, offset the layers like that. I'm going to allow that to cool, and then I'll be able to play around with the dimensional shape of it. Okay, so now this one has dried off, and I can literally just scrunch it up and you get a really, really pretty flower. Now I'm not bothering with the leaves for this because I really don't want to. it's not really necessary. The lady in question only wanted the flower. She didn't actually want it with leaves. So here I have 3 of the flowers that I've made, which are on wires, and I think you'll agree they're quite pretty. And whoops, there's another one, which is the little flower bud. So you could do these in all sorts of different colours, that would be nice. Here's a demonstration of one which I've put onto a, I don't know what you call them, ponytail gripper things. Now if you're going to do this, what I would suggest is you make the flower up and then you stitch it over the plastic wires and then put some glue over the stitching. If you just do what I've done here just for demonstration purposes and glue it on, it's not going to stay on there for very long. And then this one I've put on a pipe cleaner. So again, that could be wrapped around a ponytail. Now this will stay in place because it's got glue underneath it and over the top, and it's not under stress, so that one would stay in place. And this one, of course, is the one that I did the glitter centre on. Very, very sparkly. So I hope you enjoyed that. It's just a little summer fun, and I will see you again soon.